Hey guys, what's up? It's Eli with Jiu-Jitsu, of course, and I'm very pleased to have a special guest here, Shane Fazen from FightTIPS. And if you've ever been on YouTube before and looked up anything fight related, you probably know who this guy is. And we were doing some training today, doing a seminar together, and he was doing some awesome stuff. And I always like to look at kind of connections between different material, and so he's going to talk about some stuff from self-defense kind of related stuff from striking range, and then we're going to kind of look at a couple different connections.
Yeah, cool. So, hey guys, first of all, Eli, thank you. So one of the things that I covered today was defense to a right hand. It was actually jab and cross, but I know you were asking specifically about self-defense, and most people are right-handed. And even if they are trained, I've noticed in the heat of the moment when someone's angry and they're fighting off of emotion or ego, it's that right hand that comes flying. So we're going to talk about defense to the right hand. So there's a bunch of different ways of defending. The best way is no contact at all. It's evading, it's slipping, it's getting underneath of that shot. But if we're in a fight, right, or in an argument before the fight even starts, I want hands up. I call this the I don't want any trouble stance, right? It's non-threatening. It doesn't look like I'm about to do anything, but I'm just one step away from palm strikes, from elbows, from throwing punches, and I'm also guarded in this position too. So I already started to blade my stance just a little bit, non-threatening again, but I got my hands up. If and when that punch comes, I want to comb my hair back. That's my first thought here. Now, instead of just standing my ground, like actually try to hit me in the face because you probably would, right? And we don't have boxing gloves on. This is small fist. MMA is the same thing. He can get into the space here. So what I want to do is also move my body. I'm not just going to stand here the whole time. I'm going to comb my hair back, and this is a layer of defense. So I really want to get that thumb to the shoulder and to the telephone, but also step in, and I can jut my elbow into his face. Any part of the face is going to be it's going to be a good place to be. The other thing is too, the more that he steps in, if he really commits to this punch, he really leans into it, then you're going to get that head-on collision. So the more he moves into it, the more I am going to jut my elbow right into his face. Now, this is something where you really need to override the brain, because if you haven't been sparring, if you haven't been in a fight before, when someone's coming at you with a punch, your natural reaction is probably going to be to flinch and get away from it, to move away from that shot. So you have to be comfortable running into the fire. And what you're going to do is just have to rep it out and just drill it with a friend. What you could do is just have them put their right hand up as a target, right? And just kind of go through the motions. And what I'm going to do is just step and hit that there. Boom. Or we can go to the other side and he actually throws the punch, and now I'm hitting to that one. And it's pretty easy for me to change the trajectory instead of going to the palm in an actual fight. Now I'm going boom, right to the face. Be careful if you're doing this with your friends. Don't actually hit them in the face, because when they throw the right hand, just like you saw Eli did, his head kind of dips off to the side, which is good because he's taking his head off the center line, but now he's probably going to run into the elbow. So just show it, as we say. We don't actually commit to it. It doesn't take a lot of effort or oomph to just have them run into that. Now from there, if the fight doesn't end, because it probably won't, they're going to keep going, I go here with that elbow, I can clinch up and headbutt. Now, easy way to understand how to throw headbutts is use the hard part of your head against the soft parts of theirs. Otherwise, it's just going to be bowling ball, and one of them's going to crack.
I get that question a lot because I'll mention headbutts sometimes, and people will ask specifically what part of the head, and sometimes it seems more obvious, but you don't know, because you see in pro wrestling and stuff, it's like straight forehead sometimes.
Right.
And all of this gets cut real easy, and then the blood gets in the eyes.
Exactly.
So
think of it like, where does a hat rest on your head? That's pretty much where I like hitting with, 4 inches above the eyebrows, 3 inches, but anywhere, I mean, we've seen cuts center of the head that opens up, and that is no good. So what I would suggest is right where the hat rests on your head, get your head lower and never wind up and go like this, because then you're more likely to hit your nose on the head or to take a shot. So we're going to duck underneath. As we do it, chin's tucked already, then I can clinch up, I can go with the opposite side elbow, I can throw multiple headbutts from here, but now I'm in a clinch position. I got one tie, one hand behind the head. From here, I can throw it down into the guillotine choke. Boom, pull that head down, now I got the guillotine. I'm going to hand this off to the expert here to talk about finishing that, because I know most people, when they get that, they think hips in, and they want to go here, and that kind of relieves some of the pressure,
It can. It definitely just concentrates it more on the neck crank than anything else. So the idea, guillotine, if you want it to be a tight choke, it's going to be constricting around the neck, and it's going to be restricting the blood flow. You want the person to fall asleep. Even though it is a little more tracheal than like a rear naked choke maybe, it can still, the emphasis still needs to be on the blood. So whenever we get into this position, if I do get in here and I want to throw it, and it's a lot of the same kind of thing that Shane's talking about. It's like I don't want to go 100% to him and bring him 100% to me, because both of those require more effort. So I'm going to meet halfway. So I'm going to open this up, toss his head in the basket here, and like Shane was saying, the common tendency here for novice people whenever they're first practicing this is push my hips in, but whenever my hips go in, a lot of times it makes the shoulders go back, and that just cranks on the neck, and it's easier for him to tough that out. So instead, I'm gonna keep my shoulders forward and bring my hips in too, like this, so I actually create kind of an arch in the back. My feet are kind of a distance apart, but as I push my hips in, the thing is, if he wants to reach down and grab my 2 legs to take me down or anything, that actually kind of hangs him whenever he does that, and it puts more pressure on the choke. So it makes it very difficult actually for him to do that. This also acts like a little bit of a frame against the chest at first, whenever I first catch this as well. So you see that, like, if I'm just here and I stand neutral and he wants to grab my legs, I'm probably going down if he's picking me up like that. However, if I go here and push this forearm against him a little bit, shoulders forward, hips forward, now he wants to grab my legs, he's kind of hanging himself like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna grab here on the blade of the hand, close to the connection of the wrist here. Not way up here like this, because now I'm blocking the surface area that I have to choke with. So this is gonna make a little bit better of a choke. I'm gonna kind of squeeze this inside. And like any good choke, I'm really concentrating on the areas where the blood is going, but it's not really that armored by the muscles of the neck, right? So whenever we get there, I throw in like this here, hips come forward, feet are a stance apart, the knees stay bent, I don't come up on my toes, and shoulders are forward. It's best too if I can possibly go high elbow guillotine, and so that's gonna throw over, making it difficult for him if he wants to throw the arm over my shoulder here, right? That kind of blocks it, because that's actually a common defense for people to do. And it's a trained defense, it's a technical defense, but it's not, sometimes it's instinctive too, people do that.
Yeah.
So if you think about the instinctive things people do, whenever I'm choking the neck, they're gonna, out of self-preservation, they're gonna grab that neck, or they're gonna throw the arm over the shoulder sometimes.
So how do we counter that?
That's a good question. So it depends on whichever side. If I get here and the arm goes over, then from here, I may still be able to finish, but he changed the angle, making it more difficult for me to get that clean choke. So I'm gonna keep the one I have around his neck, but I'm also gonna take this one around his shoulder and grab my own shoulder on this side here. From there, I wanna step this foot back here and take him down. So I'm gonna throw, almost like I'm throwing a hook here and stepping back this way. Once we hit the ground here, now like this, you see that, like, from cross-side position, I keep this one around his neck. This hand, I'm gonna pull the shoulder, drop my hip down, and then pull like this. So it's a little bit of a neck crank. It might be a lot of a neck crank, depending on how we land, but it's also gonna get that inside for the choke too, so I can finish the choke that way. Nice. Now, if you do on the other side, same thing. Like, if you pull the hand down that I'm choking with, comes underneath the arm, that twist turn, we wind up in this similar position, going for that neck crank or choke.
How about if they got 2 hands on one and they're just trying to relieve? Can we show that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, out of self-preservation, right? He goes here, pulling down here on my arm. So I'll fight a little bit, but the more I can get him committed, the easier he is to manipulate. That's a really important principle, I think, in grappling. So if he's very committed on that there, I'm gonna fight, and then I'm gonna scoop up underneath this way here. And then from that direction here, now look, that I have this, I can also do the same kind of thing. I'm gonna take him this way, maybe make a trip on this side over here. This way, I can go back into this kind of position, or I may wind up with his head still here. Now, this is the thing here, yeah, if I chop the arm, I maybe could have gotten a good like neck crank off of it. But he's got a lot of freedom to be able to turn to his left side. But to get up, he has to base on this elbow, so I'm gonna pick that elbow up off the ground and then slide in, take the back off of this here, right? So that takes a little bit of like awareness to be able to get in that position. But even if off the scramble, I make the takedown and I can scramble and get to that top side position, I can still do a lot of recovery and be in a superior position, which is the goal off of any takedown anyway.
I like this, and I just want to say to you guys watching, rep it out, rep this stuff out, because watching this, like even me listening, I'm not going to remember that, especially in the heat of the moment. But this is the kind of thing you grab a partner with and you rep it out. You go through the motions, you put the gloves on. Careful with the elbows, please. But yeah, once you get to that collar tie, boom.
I think all of it, man. Striking, clinch work, ground grappling, all of it. I get people, I'm sure you do in comments sometimes, they'll say, man, I tried this in class the other night and it didn't work. And so you watched the video one time and you tried it and it didn't work. How'd that happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, rep it out like Shane said. Yeah. This is cool because we're passing through a lot of different ranges. We're going from that striking range, dealing with a sucker punch, or maybe even just an overhand right, so it can be technical, trained or untrained.
Yeah.
Going into the clinch, looking at different options, finishing the fight standing with the submission, or taking it to the ground.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. Shane, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for
Hey guys, make sure, if you're not watching Shane already, I don't know what you're doing on YouTube, but check out FightTIPS. Always follow his stuff. Keep watching my Jiu-Jitsu channel too, guys. I appreciate you all.
See you guys.